Hey guys, just give me a second to get situated. I got the desktop already up and I am live, right? Our friend Randy should be up in a little bit, but maybe not because there might be some technical difficulties. But we're going to find out. We will find out in just a few minutes. We'll wait and see who comes in. As mentioned before, Randy Kreil is an ultra runner. A very good ultra runner. Much better than I've been. Hey, Stitch. Stitch says hi. Lee says, good evening, Yogi. Good evening, Lee. He is also cancer survivor who definitely, it's not someone that shrugs off conventional medicine, but that wasn't the only thing for him. I'm not going to say too much. Hey, Sissy, until he comes up. And I hope he's able to come up. There might be, on his end, there might be some technical stuff. So we're going to wait. I'll get some notification. He says, Yogi, was Randy the man in the photo running alongside you by a wooden bridge? No, that was my friend Matt. He says, hey, Sissy, good evening. Yep, that was my friend Matt. Matt pops in here every once in a while. He always does it on his wife's account. So you might have seen Jennifer Kerstetter. It says, evening, Eric, didn't you get my message? I did not get your message. What was the message? The last message I got from you was a day ago. Hey, Toy Pups. So, if Randy, are you watching? Can you leave a comment and let us know? And then, if you click the link, you should be able to come on up. I hope. Sniper says, he says, hey, Sniper, how was the sycamore tree? So if there is technical difficulties, it will be, Friday live stream. It happens. Toy Pups, how you feeling? Just says kitten got his stitches removed today. I just got home from the vets. Awesome, Stitch. I'm glad to hear that. Stitch says hi to Toy Pups. Sissy, how are you? Sissy, is your mom still visiting? Give me a second. I'm asking him to click the link and see what happens. Say, Ellie. We will see. Stitch says, how are you, Toy Pups? I haven't seen you go live for a while. She was away for a bit. Vacation? You can't tell people that you're trying to be mysterious and hope that they miss you. Because now it's not mysterious. Pippa says, Lee, putting the time next to her neighbor was impressed. And so this afternoon, always a 60-foot lime tree. All right, let me see. Sissy says, no, I just turned my phone off last night. Hey, Kat. Next, he stepped in. I must have been more exhausted than I realized. So bad. All right. So, hey, my friend Randy says his phone is asking him to allow YouTube access, and he doesn't know how to do it. You guys know how to do it? He just realized before he came on that he's never done a live stream before. Wasn't sure about his audio. So he clicked the link and it says allow YouTube access, but it's not telling him how to do it. Any suggestions? Pups doesn't like surprises. Then how can you surprise people? I'll let everyone know I need you guys to. Here we go, guys. You did it.
I can't believe it. I am a low tech person.
Me too.
I've
That's
only
the problem.
done
Two low tech people
there you go.
coming together.
It's amazing.
Let me give you an introduction.
Okay.
This is my friend Randy Kreil, guys. He's gonna shake his head no. He's an extraordinary ultra runner. He is an extraordinary human being. I have been impressed it's been well over a decade watching you in action. Nonstop. Nothing stopped you. You even did 100 miles during the COVID shutdown. Not a race. You made your own course. So guys, this is hold on one second. Subscriber only mode. Is that going to limit our access to people coming in? I want everyone to meet Randy. I just started bringing people up on my live streams. People have been popping up and we've been hanging out, but I've just started bringing up guests this past week or so. I have a short list of people.
Okay.
Some pretty well known in certain like spiritual communities and everything. You were on the short list of people that I immediately wanted to talk to.
Thank you. That's awesome.
Because you got a story to tell. And I hope that we can, I figure an hour, a little over an hour, we'll chat.
Sure.
And hopefully we can get the whole story in. Where's a good starting place for you?
Oh, wow. I tend to go back to November of 2004. I was coasting along. Life was phenomenal. We had the audio is weird. Should I make any adjustments? Okay, that sounds better. We had 3 young daughters. I was a full-time stay-at-home dad, and about a year and a half after transitioning to out of full-time work to full-time parenting, I found out that I had thyroid cancer. And that kind of began a quest to figure out how to get past that scare and then hopefully avoid ever getting a cancer diagnosis again. And pretty quickly after the surgeries and radiation, I started doing some research and I was slowly being led towards needing to eat less meat and lose weight and so forth. I was also at the time trying to get off some cholesterol medication that I've been on a long time. And I ultimately, all that led to reading the book Born to Run in early 2010. And that was really where years of research kind of all came together. And that book kind of almost felt like it was written for me at that time. It kind of put all the pieces together. And then, I started running in bare feet and minimalist shoes. And it was working really well. And that's when I started doing sandal running that fall.
Can I ask you a
And
question real
then,
quick?
oh yeah,
Are you wearing shoes right now?
no,
No, I didn't think so.
barefoot standing at our computer desk. I thought we were going to be doing this off the PC. I just didn't dawn on me till the last minute that we were doing this on the phone. Um, so um, I read that book and I started doing more and more running, more minimalist running, and eating less meat, dairy, and eggs. And then I had I was kind of playing this game with my endocrinologist where at least 3 times I stopped taking his cholesterol meds. And and then I would change my diet. I'd give up, say, eggs or meat or whatever. I'd eat better than I was, and I'd maybe lose some weight. I'd do some triathlons or marathons, whatever it was. And I'd go in there and he'd say, well, guess what? Your cholesterol's up. So every time I failed after all that work and I was back on those cholesterol meds. And so I was really frustrated about late November of 2010. And I reached out to a lady named Dr. Ruth Heydrich, who was featured in the book Born to Run, but turns out she's featured in many, many other books, and
Right.
which I did not know at the time. But anyways, on my fourth reading of Born to Run, I really focused in on her. And after the frustration with getting back on the cholesterol meds, I reached out to her, and she is just a genius. Within a week of me peppering her with questions every day, uh, she's in Hawaii. I'm in Ohio. Um, I found her website, watched a couple videos, found her email address, and reached out to her. And almost instantly, she responded. And it turned out that we had a local connection. She used to live in my neighborhood in Beaver Creek, Ohio, where I grew up. And she would have been running marathons and training the same time my dad would have back in the 70s. So certainly crossed paths many times. But anyways, within a week, she had me all in. December 10th, I switched completely to a 100% plant-based diet and have stuck with that ever since. So at that point, I had already been doing quite a bit of minimalist running. My feet were already getting stronger and sort of changing shape. And at some point, well, within 2 months of changing my diet, I decided to go ahead another time and to stop taking my cholesterol medication. And about a month later, I had a blood draw with a cholesterol check and went to see the endocrinologist. And finally, after many, many years and many failed efforts, I was not taking meds and my cholesterol was down substantially where I wanted it to be. And so I flushed those medications down the toilet and never looked back. And I was even more convinced that I was going to be sticking to the plant-based diet
At
for a
this
full lifetime.
at this point, what was going on with the cancer?
Oh, it was basically non-existent as far as we knew. The scare was so intense. Um, the fear was always there. Well, after that diagnosis, I remember real clearly when I had a grandfather who was almost 96 years old, and this was before the cancer diagnosis. He passed away, and as the oldest grandchild, I needed to get up in front of everybody and speak at the funeral, and I'm not good at that. Public speaking's kind of not my thing, and but it was even harder than normal because my voice just wasn't working. It was just like my throat was locking up, and so I got back, went to see my doctor, and she said, "Hey, haven't you noticed this big lump here in your neck?" And I said, "Well, no, I was just here 3 4 months ago for our full physical exam, and apparently it wasn't there." And so, anyways, she sent me straight in to get some imaging done, and my breathing tube. See if you can see this. It kind of went like this. There was a huge goiter there, and it was really impeding the smooth flow of air through my breathing tube. And at that point, I was starting to get kind of severe anxiety. And, we scheduled uh, they were going to take the one side, half the thyroid out, which they did. They did a surgery on that, and we didn't expect any problems. But went back in for the follow up after that surgery, and it was an aggressive form of follicular cancer, like a fast growing thyroid cancer. So right away they went back in and did another surgery, and I was just in a state of constant fear. Um, and it was just a rough patch. Lost a lot of sleep during that period of time,
I bet.
and so from early 2005 through 2010, I was doing a lot of research, slowly making improvements. I did like a 10-day master cleanse fast, and I lost some weight. I lost a lot of weight, and I started doing a little bit more running here and there. But really, reading the book Born to Run really was the big catalyst to making a major change. Basically, the concept was I was going to adopt um, the good habits of the Tarahumara Indians in the Copper Canyons of Mexico. So it wasn't just ultra running or lots of running barefoot or minimalist. It was also taking on their diet, even better. There, most of the natives down there are roughly 98% plant-based that live, like the nomadic subsistence farmer lifestyle. I went ahead and I did 100%, of course, and but then I also wanted to adopt kind of their mindset of cooperative lifestyle versus competitive. So I started what in my mind it was kind of like a Born to Run life experiment that's kind of been going nonstop since I'll just call it December of 2010. And
Forever. I'm
yeah,
just
yeah,
impressed. I've
yeah,
always been impressed. You did a major lifestyle overhaul, like
yeah,
almost like that.
yeah. It's kind of interesting because I don't know what year it was. I was probably 42, 43 maybe. And I've at some point when I realized I was probably yeast intolerant, and so I made a overnight shift to taking all the yeast out of my diet. So it would have been over 26 years ago, I believe,
Huh.
which meant no alcohol, none of my favorite foods like pretzels and pizza crust. A lot of things that I craved had yeast in them. So I
You
had to
are
make this major diet change. And what I learned about major diet changes is it's about as difficult as quitting smoking for an addicted smoker.
right.
And so it was hard. It was sort of all consuming at the time to make the change. But then I got fast results on that and felt so much better.
You are
Uh,
how old now?
oh gosh, I think I was 42 when I was diagnosed with cancer, and I think that was 2004.
Which
And
makes you
I
how old
I'm
now?
I'm 63 now, but I think I gave up the yeast before that. I might have my timing mixed up on that. It was probably right before, maybe 40, 42, or
Have
even
I
late
ever
30s. I gave up the yeast.
have I ever
Um,
told you that I don't appreciate you being in my age group?
I couldn't remember. How many years young are
I'm
you?
I'm 60.
Okay. Oh,
So
you're
I'm right
just,
there.
yeah,
And I've
I
never been
kind of
close
feel,
to you
uh,
in any 100-mile time. I've never been close to the time. Uh, I think you're. I think I remember your first times were like in the 28s, and now you're how many sub 24s have you gotten?
oh, only one.
Only one.
Yeah, I did. I've done 32 official 100-mile finishes. And then there were also four DNFs, but those were all at least 100K. One of those was 99 miles. That was painful.
I
Um,
remember that. That was
th-
Mohican.
yeah, yeah. And then there were two. I actually did two of the do-it-yourself COVID's 100-mile fundraiser races. So I
I
guess
need to
technically
add that you came back and finished Mohican.
I did. Yeah, that was one of the top redemption runs ever because it happened to fall on Father's Day for the finish, and my wife and two of our three daughters were there for it. So it was just a really special event.
Could you answer a question from our friend Lee Liu? Says, Does running or being in constant motion have a soothing effect on your mind, body? And what feelings do you feel when you're completing a race?
Oh wow. I would say 100%. I've got certain family members. I'd say most all of them probably figure I'm maybe borderline on the what do you call it, on the spectrum. A little bit of ADHD, maybe a little autism. I don't know. I've never been tested, but I would say that the regular running has a huge impact on my mental health and emotional health as well as physical health. Um, so it's hard to say. Sometimes at the end of a, let's say, 100 mile, or I just want to be done, and it can be there can be a lot of discomfort, but generally it's a very positive feeling, kind of a euphoria mixed with extreme physical fatigue. Um,
Except for the fact that you do push-ups when you cross the finish line.
Wow, that's been a while. That was just something fun I did at CNO a few times.
Our friend Adam says, "How hard was it to start running soon after you stopped smoking?"
Oh no, I've never been a smoker.
Never smoking.
No, no, that was one thing I would never do. My parents used to smoke in the car when I was a kid in the '70s, and I was a pretty young person. When I swore to myself I would never ever even take one trial of a cigarette. So
It amazes me to consider where you might be right now had you never picked up the book Born to Run.
yeah, I don't know what would have happened. Really, that was the catalyst, but I was kind of heading there. It was interesting because it was one of the first things that I learned when I started taking Synthroid after they completely burned out my the last remaining thyroid cells with radiation. After that, you have to take a daily pill of Synthroid. And one of the things I was learning was that after a few decades of that, you're at great risk of osteoporosis. So I did a kind of a semi deep dive into osteoporosis and realized that milk does not build strong bones. I was um, learning that animal-based foods are actually one of the root causes of osteoporosis. And another thing I learned from my endocrinologist was that if I ate only plant-based foods, I would not have to like fast in the morning for an hour before taking, or I wouldn't have to fast for an hour after taking my Synthroid tablet in the morning.
Oh,
So that
nice.
just seemed interesting. I'd be why would eating meat or eggs cause a problem with taking a daily Synthroid pill? It just didn't quite add up. Um, and then there were lots of little things. It took me way too long to kind of connect all the dots. But one of the interesting things was I was learning that skin cancer rates near the equator run lower than they do, say, in Canada up north, and it just didn't make sense. Um, You'd think that people that live with way more sun on their skin would be more likely to have higher rates of skin cancer, but cancer rates were higher away from the equator. I don't know. I don't know that I've seen any research, but logic seemed to indicate that the further you get away from the equator, the more the cultures are centered around eating animal sourced foods because generations ago they had to survive the winters and all the cultural
Right. We lost your we lost your sound.
can you hear me now?
We can, but now we can't see you.
Oh really?
Yep.
There was a call coming in. Oh,
Still there.
that's odd. um yeah, this is my first time doing this.
That's okay. I'm still doing all that. It's at least once a week I accidentally turn myself green, and have no idea how to ungreen myself. Hey, Heavenly Star.
um I'm trying some things here. Oh, is that it?
Nope.
You can't see me.
Nope.
I can see me. Um, okay, well, I guess people don't need to. I was showing off my new shirt from the folks at Switch for Good. Have you ever heard of them?
I haven't.
We met them, my wife and I, at the Chicago Marathon last year. They're an organization, I believe, nonprofit that works to get people to not use dairy products. But most of the people on their staff are vegans too. So
Nice.
the DF is dairy free, and then the AF is not what people would think. It's animal for dairy free, animal free.
Gotcha.
The logo on the shirt is so.
So
If
we have
any,
two more questions here. Um, our friend Squirrel Sniper says, "Is a runner of 100 miles defined more by the distance they cover or the time it takes them to complete it?"
hmm, um, I guess they go hand in hand. For me, I part of what it is I think there's maybe something magical about running so long that the Earth does a complete spin all the way around. So you see full sunrise, full sunset, full nighttime, full daytime. There's something about that attracts me to it. Um, I can get a really great runner's high just doing a fast 5K, or I can get a really long runner's high at a 100-mile race that can last for hours. It's kind of that part of it's pretty unpredictable.
Um, Lee Lu says, "Also, the day after 100 miles, does your body and you require certain foods, drinks, or sugar?"
Um, Not necessarily. I like to have smoothies and healthy food, but also I tend to crave a lot of salty things. So I'll tend to have some salty corn tortilla chips with hummus. Um, I kind of want to eat everything. I used to joke that after a 100 miler, you could eat a Volvo. It's the appetite is voracious, and typically I gain about 5 pounds after a 100 miler. So maybe the morning after the race, I've lost weight, but then for a few days after, for 4 days after an ultra, my weight will be up by 3 to 5 pounds, oftentimes.
So, while we're on the subject of eating and racing, how do you typically fuel yourself on a 100-mile run?
Oh, good question. That's for a 100-mile race. That process starts several days before, um, where I will try to eat a little more bland. I'll scale back. I'll back off on caffeine. If I'm on the ball, about a week before the race, I'll only have decaf or no coffee. Um, and Yes, I would say less spicy stuff, more simple foods, sweet potatoes, regular potatoes, tempeh, tofu, rice. I'll maybe back off the fiber a little bit. Um, and I've also been learning that the day before the race is really critical to get up early. I guess typically I would have oatmeal in the morning and then some sort of a tofu, rice, and greens bowl uh, for lunch. And then lately I've been going back to a second oatmeal for an early dinner the morning before 100 miles or the evening before 100 miles starts. So typically a 100 miler would start at say 7 a.m. Um, so I would try to have that last oatmeal around maybe 5 o'clock the day before the race and try to get to bed really early. So all that stomach prep, everything from sleep, relaxation, it all starts a couple days before, or days before the race starts. And as a side note, I'm probably very unusual in that I've done well over 100 ultra marathons, and I've never vomited at a race or during a run or anything like that. So I like to think that the plant-based diet is part of that. Um, in terms of fueling during 100-mile, I prefer generally to have real food. So if they have whole fruit or potatoes or pickle, whatever it is, everything from pickles to oranges and bananas. Um, I'm- I I try to eat slowly, chew a lot, and sort of the idea is almost like an intravenous drip feed. Try to take in a couple hundred calories an hour, but take them in very slowly.
Do
Um,
you carry anything with you besides water, or you just rely on the aid stations?
Oh, I'm getting better at not carrying so much stuff with me. I tended to carry. I almost always carry some vegan options on me. Um, One that's kind of become a favorite over the past few years. Trader Joe's has uh, a vegan chocolate coffee buzz bar. So it's basically dark chocolate that's caffeinated, and that can be a real catalyst if it's taken at the right time. Um,
That's a good question, or that's a good way to get into this question right now, because our friend Lee said, "Randy, why cut back on the caffeine? Could too much have a reverse effect?" So,
I think if I have too much caffeine, I don't sleep as well at night, and also my wife's blood pressure has dropped since we back way off on our morning coffee. Say I make a percolator full of coffee, and if it's 8 or 10 cups, I'll only put 2 scoops of caffeinated coffee in there, and then 8 to 10 or 12 scoops of decaf. So we're not having half calf. It's more like 80-90% decaf in our daily coffee. Um, but in terms of like taking a little caffeine fast before 100-miler, the idea there is that I'll wait until really late in my 100-mile race, say midnight or 4 a.m., when I'm really, really just having a hard time staying awake. Um, that's when I want to take that first caffeine, and I want it to work. So if I've had a little bit of a fast from caffeine, it's more likely to do its job when I really need it.
yeah, I did that for a while as well. As a matter of fact, I had stopped all caffeine for quite some time to only use in races,
Yeah.
and that did work very well. Except I really missed coffee through my regular life, so I went back to drinking coffee.
Uh-huh.
Hi, Daisy.
So is
Um,
my video still not showing on you for you?
yep, still not shown.
Well, that's weird. Okay.
You want to try another button?
Um, there's like a spinny circle at the top icon. There's a microphone icon, two microphone icons. One's blue. Retouch.
What I normally do is I press buttons until something happens that I want to happen.
um, huh.
So, as I was talking to Kat and Jack before the live stream, she had a question she wanted to ask us. She might not. She's at work, so she might not be able to ask the question, but I'll ask it. You still there, Randy? Think we might have lost Randy.
Oh, can you hear me? Yeah, I'm here. I had pressed
There we
too many
go.
buttons.
That's my fault because I told you to go ahead and press buttons. Kat wants to know about the I forget what it's called, the post between your big toe and your second toe on your
Oh,
sandals. Does that
yeah.
bother you?
I'm pretty lucky because generally, no. Um, I tried out some different types of sandals, and Luna's did not work out for me. But Zeros did, and bedrock sandals did. And I think for me, the key to it was a thin, round toe post. Uh, um, that would work. And like a flat, wider toe post would sometimes I'd be bleeding after 3 miles in a pair of Lunas, but I could generally run 100 miles or more, even through the mountains, in a pair of bedrocks or zeros and not have a problem. So,
What, what's your preferred shoe or shoe list nowadays?
100%. I pretty much the only thing I wear is zero shoes. So they've now expanded to where they not only have quite a few sandal options, different styles, but they also have a lightweight trail running shoes, a little bit heavier protection and trail shoes, and multiple road running shoes. And they have water shoes that are good for trail running. They have dress shoes and boots and different types of boots. They have a lot of options. So, um,
They're
based on,
reasonably priced too.
yeah, yeah. So,
Can I mention that you're an ambassador for Zero, right?
yeah, I'm an affiliate person for them. Have been since they used to be initially they were called Invisible Shoes. So back in 2010, I signed up for their affiliate program, and then that's kind of helped pay for a lot of my race fees over the years.
Nice. Um, you still have your YouTube channel, right?
Yeah, I need to get
Can,
back to creating some content for it. But
people can find your if people want to try those shoes, they can. You have an affiliate link on your channel.
oh yeah, yeah, it's on my Facebook, YouTube, Instagram as well.
Awesome. Guys, any more questions for Randy? And what's next? What's the next race for you, Randy?
Oh gosh, there's one. Um, I might sneak a local one in. Well, the next race would be a WC 50 in North Carolina, 50K that my wife and I are both running. And then the next scheduled one after that is in your neck of the woods. It's the JFK 50 miler. And
Nice.
believe it or not, I've never run that race. I've got over 100 ultra marathons, to run, but
That's
um,
the big one. It's
yeah,
one of the very first, the
yeah.
longest ultra in longer than Conrad, I believe.
Yeah, and it's as old as I am. So it'll be the 63rd annual, and I'm on my 63rd year too. So it's kind
Perfect.
of kind of fun that yeah. And then you mentioned sub 24. The only sub 24 hour I did was at the Long Haul 100 in Florida, and I'm now registered for the Long Haul 100 on the new course in Florida, January 17th and 18th. And then, of course, CNO 100, my
10.
hopefully 1,000 mile club finish, hopefully my 10th finish at CNO in April 2026.
That was my first 100-mile finish after four previous attempts, two times at Mohican, one time for CNO, and I forget what the other one that I didn't make. Everything came together for that year at CNO.
Awesome. Yeah, yeah. And did you finish Mohican twice?
I did not finish Mohican twice.
Okay, that's a tough course.
It
But
is.
you attempted it twice.
Yes.
Um, I think I kind of did a popular way of getting a buckle there. I went and ran the 50 miler, and it was harder than I thought. I was real beat up after the 50 miler. Came back the next year to try to do the next year or the year after that, and got a DNF at the 100 miler. So I got the 50 mile plus medal for running 99 miles, and basically I
Right.
timed out, and then came back another year or two later and got the buckle. So uh,
Uh, Lee wants to know, he says, Randy, when you're running, does your mind have lots of random thoughts, or are you zoned in and focused on job at hand?
wow, that depends really a lot on the course. Um, One of the things I like about the CNO course being relatively flat and smooth is you can kind of get into a more relaxed, meditative kind of state. Um, and on a really tough mountain type course with lots of tripping hazards, you have to be dialed in and super focused on the course. So it's a different experience. I mean, I enjoy both of them, but running a smooth, flat surface can kind of be more enjoyable sometimes for me. Um,
Um, Adam wants to know. I'm kind of curious about Randy's morning ritual myself. Take a little salt.
I'm sorry.
Take a little salt. Takes a little salt.
To,
Well, first off, he wants to know about your morning ritual.
oh, okay. Typically, well, for one long time there, I was doing my oatmeal every morning, and I've got a YouTube video about an oatmeal recipe that I put together. It's very detailed. It's got probably over 30 different ingredients in it. Um, and I'm still doing oatmeal, but every other day now, generally, I'm doing like a chia pudding mix, where it's like a quarter cup of chia seeds with almond milk or soy milk, and maybe add some fruit to it and some lemon juice, vanilla flavoring, a little bit of stevia. Um, so it's generally either oatmeal pudding or I'm sorry, chia pudding or oatmeal in the morning. Um, and then I don't have a set routine. I really work hard at trying to put a lot of variety into my diet. And just before this call, I was making smoothies, and there's typically 20 to 30 or more ingredients in my smoothies. And the idea being the more you put in there, the more diverse and healthy the gut biome will be.
Oh, nice.
Um, so it's generally, I try to eat on a perfect day. It would be a big breakfast, medium lunch, smaller dinner. And I do intermittent fasting virtually every day, to where it's real simple 12-hour nightly fast with, if I eat dinner, I'm done by 6. I don't eat any breakfast the next morning till 6 a.m. That sort of thing. So,
Carl wants to know: have you ever ran the Dublin Marathon?
no, I have not.
How many marathons have you done? Do you do a lot of marathons?
I do not. I started with the U.S. Air Force Marathon here in my backyard. Ran around the hospital where I was born. Um, and I think I ran that one. The U.S. Air Force Marathon does this big, heavy metal, and I think I got 7 of them. I think it was about 2 pounds of metal, and the race is a little pricey relative to our local 50Ks. So at some point, I kind of thought, well, I started getting into this ultra phase, and I realized I could run a couple of 50Ks for the price of a city marathon.
Right.
And so I do some marathons, but not very many. I couldn't really tell you how many, but I would have to guess at least 20. I think on 50Ks, I'm probably 65 to 80 of them or so. Um, the 50K is kind of the sweet spot. That's my favorite way to train for the 100 milers, is just to a fairly steady, pattern of running 50Ks.
I want to talk about your training in a minute, but Ellie says, "What's your favorite race?"
Oh wow, that's tough. Favorite race. Um, CNO Canal 100 was my first 100 miler, and I've run it 9 out of 9 attempts. I finished it, and all the reasons I picked it as a first race, I keep going back to it for the same reasons. And this coming April will hopefully be, um, 10th finish, the 1,000 mile club. I do love that race, and it's not, it's the environment, the beauty of the course, the history of the area, the volunteers, the quality of the race, just the whole philosophy behind the race, just everything about it is a great fit.
Mhm.
But I've also absolutely loved the Superior 100 in Minnesota. That was probably um, the top, like, world class 100-mile ultra that I've done. Um, uh, uh, Long haul 100 was a favorite because I got sub 24 by about 7 minutes. I was the last person in at the sub 24 at
Well,
that race.
I thought you
Um,
might say cloud splitter.
And that's in the top. That's in the top two. I've got 3 cloud splitter buckles, and it's one of the hardest courses I've run.
It's a beast from
Um,
what I hear.
it was. It no longer exists. They had a major storm tear up the mountains, and
Oh, I didn't know that.
yeah, the race no longer exists.
Well, good for you for getting it in.
Yeah,
When you had that opportunity, it shows if you got something on your list, don't skip it.
yeah, exactly.
Lee says, does it become addictive? Almost the preparation and the appetite to continue new courses?
Um, that's a great question. I'm going to say somewhat. I try not to be too obsessive in terms of performance. I like to tell people I'm only half joking when I say 100-mile race is basically a 24 to 37 hour yoga session slash full body massage. And
Right.
I really believe it should feel good for most of the race.
I
Um,
always, I always say it's a 100-mile buffet.
and
Just
that too.
taste
It's an all you can eat buffet. But you're limited on how much you can eat if you want to keep everything down.
true.
So,
S-
um,
Sniper wants to know, would you like to have you ran in Death Valley?
you know what? I sort of have. The first year of the pandemic, um, I was out running like a 24-mile point to point run from my wife's run group back to our house. And about 4 miles from home, I get a phone call from Harvey Lewis, a fellow vegan ultra runner. Uh, and I thought, I wonder why Harvey's calling me. We hadn't really talked before. We were just followed each other on social media. And he was looking for a crew person to go to Death Valley. And at the time of the call, he couldn't give me any details. It was still kind of a secret what he was going to do. And but he was going to, pick up some expenses and get me out there. And I wouldn't have to spend much money, but I'd have to work my butt off for a special challenge he'd set up for himself. So what it turned out to be was he was trying to beat Marshall Ulrich's 29-year um, Badwater 146 FKT. And he ended up doing that. So I was one of the 3 Ohio crew people out there with him um, when he went from the bottom of the Badwater Basin to the peak of Mount Whitney, the highest point in continental U.S. to, I'm sorry, lowest point in continental U.S. to the highest point in continental U.S. in like about 19, 20 minutes faster than Marshall Ulrich had done it
Right.
29 years prior. So we were running around. Before and after his FKT, we ran in various places out in Death Valley. Um,
Um, all right. Couple of things I need to ask you. Any interest in a last man standing race? And
oh,
any interest in a 200 miler?
um,
Um,
let's see. I can answer the 200 miler first. I have not seriously considered a 200 miler. A few reasons. Uh, the good ones that I would want to go do are really really expensive.
right.
So I can run multiple 100-mile races for the price of one 200-mile race. And there's also kind of the fear in the back of my mind that um, maybe I would sour on running or get burned out doing that much. 100 miles seems to be a sweet spot for me. I really love it, and I don't feel any pull necessarily to prove that I can do 200. I believe I could, but I'd say a good chunk of it is financial. Um,
Right.
the cost per mile to run a 200 miler is, whew, it's up there.
Not to
Um,
mention the travel, the prep. Um, it adds up.
yeah, yeah, it's expensive. To go do after I crewed for Harvey at Death Valley. Um, that was the year Badwater 135 was canceled. So he was all trained and ready to go, and he had the money to do the race, and then it was canceled. So I guess that's when he came up with the idea to do the FKT, and he set up his own race out there. Um, so but anyways, what I was getting at, it tends to cost $5,000 to $10,000 to
Wow.
run Badwater. And while we were out there, I thought I enjoy the heat, and actually an interesting aside, the sandals without socks are a real benefit at a hot race. I don't know if you remember the year C&O Canal 100, it hit in the 90s. It was like 93 degrees and very humid. And they had a really high DNF rate that year. And that was one of my better relative performances at a 100 miler. My ranking at the race was higher than usual. And I guess because I had run Cloud Splitter, maybe I think one of the unintended positive consequences of running mountain races was that I became more heat acclimated, kind of by accident. At least that's what it seems like. Um, so, and also, we lose about 26% of our excess heat through our feet. So if you have your feet all wrapped up in socks and heavy shoes, you're going to be your body's going to be running hotter than
Right.
me in no socks and sandals. So if I
Can
were to if I were to go to Death Valley and try to run Badwater, I would definitely be slathering the sunscreen on my feet and trying to do it in a pair of sandals. Um,
can you tell everyone what a last man standing race is?
oh yes, I will be going back to Crew Harvey at Big Dog's Backyard World Championships in October. So the the property that we'll be on is Gary and Susan Cantrell's farm in Tennessee, and he is the man who created the concept of the last person standing. Um, and the idea, he came up with this back in high school, and he's about 70 years old now. But the idea of it is you run 4.167 miles every hour on the hour until you're the last person on the course. So it's the idea is it's the race with no finish. And I've had the fortune of being a crew person for Harvey Lewis. Um, Two of those times he's set world records. Um, the first time he ran 385 miles, and more recently, it would have been 2 years ago, he ran 450 miles. So it was 4 hours, 4 days, and 12 hours straight.
Well,
And it
any
was not. It was a tough course too. It's not flat or anything. It's all challenging terrain.
any interest in doing one yourself?
Um, I've never gotten serious about it. Partly because it's really hard to find a relatively smooth, flat course that would give me any realistic possibility of getting very far into it.
Right.
So I haven't put the time and money into it because they keep coming up with great 100-mile courses all over the country, and
Right.
I keep I'm drawn to those. So it's kind of like I could spend quite a bit of money and probably fail at a last person standing event versus go into some really cool race and get a 100-mile finish there.
If
So I don't
you
know.
if you saw the opportunity to get into Berkeley, would you do it?
Oh no, I would be the sacrificial virgin. No, I
No.
haven't even done. I haven't even done the fall classic yet. And I think the only one of the reasons is it's a fall race, and that's when the best 100 milers, the best 100-mile races tend to hit in the fall. So for the, you know, I just tend to prioritize those. Um, at 63, I'm not sure how much longer I can keep running 100-mile races, but I want to test that and see.
Um, you know Tom Green, right?
Yeah, I don't know that we've met, but I definitely know who he is.
He actually lives in my neighborhood.
Oh, he does.
Yeah, I've known him for quite some time. He he's done 100-mile races in his late 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, and now in his 70s. He also survived a horrible accident.
The tree
Um,
accident.
yep, and then
Yep.
the stroke that followed. um, and is still it's hard for him because
Yeah.
he's so much slower now and his balance is off. But he's
Yeah.
still it might have been 2 or 3 years, uh, and I think he's mainly doing 24-hour races now, occasional 50K. Um,
Yeah.
wouldn't surprise me though if
Yeah.
he manages one more 100.
Yeah, I hope so. He's a great guy. You follow him on Facebook and stuff. And we might have been at C&O Canal 100 together at some point, but I don't think I've actually gotten to talk with him much ever.
Um, as far as this is a hard thing to ask. As far as ultra runners, uh, who's your favorite ultra runner?
I'm gonna have to say Harvey Lewis, fellow Ohioan, and he's kind of like Ohio has their own Scott Jurek.
Right.
um, I remember it was probably about, I'm going to guess 8 years ago, maybe nine. I think Harvey was vegetarian for quite a few years. And initially, back in the 90s, he had a period where he was vegan. And then he became an ultra runner and he was vegetarian for quite a long time. And I remember being excited when I heard he didn't eat much, maybe a little bit of eggs or whatever. But when he gave up the eggs and went full vegan, I was excited because he's just a great guy and a great advocate for ultra running and for nutrition, healthy nutrition. Um, I just kind of thought, wow, Ohio's got their own Scott Jurek now, and it's just
He
been
is
cool getting. It's been cool getting to know him because I've gotten to go down to crew only because I know Harvey. I got to be a crew person at Barkley marathons and set up camp a few, 100 feet from Courtney DeWalter and her team, and it was just down there with all the rock stars. It was an exciting place to be and experience that. But then also, I guess at least I'm thinking it's been at least 3 or 4 times I've been to Lazarus Lake's place in Tennessee to crew for the Big Dog's backyard, the big race for the elite
right.
runs. Um, and then also, um, my wife and I in July we went with Harvey Lewis on one of his Run Quest travel trips to Portugal, and this year it was in the Azores. So there were 18 guests, and then plus Harvey and his wife Kelly, and then also four local guides, running guides, and three running guides and a photographer. So we were in São Miguel, um, Azores, Portuguese island, for a week. It was just absolutely incredible, beautiful, beautiful place. So if anybody's looking for a destination to uh, do a running based or running and hiking based trip, highly recommend the Azores.
Um, so we have just enough time to a few more things. One thing I really wanted to cover was two things I want to cover, and then I'm going to have to let you go. Your typical training for 100.
Oh, wow. I don't do a plan. I think that once I got that first CNO Canal 100 done in April of 2014, just decided at that time I wanted to maintain that fitness level indefinitely, which is basically what I've done. So I kind of run by feel. I don't have a set plan of 60 miles a week or 100 miles a week. I would say it's probably way less miles per week than most people would guess. My wife has no intention of ever running a 100-mile race, but she has qualified and run for Boston, run the Boston Marathon twice, and I have not.
Awesome.
Um, and she every year she runs more miles than I do, and only occasionally does a 50K. So I tend to follow the chi running principles, what
Mhm.
Danny Dreyer teaches, and he used to be a more competitive ultra runner than I was back when he was only running about 40 miles a week. So I tend to um, I tend to do a lot of 50Ks to train for the 100 milers, but basically I try to always be 100-mile ready year round. Is kind of the goal. So I just mix it up a lot. I
Right.
run. I run roads, trails, city, indoor. I do it all kinds of different things, and also tend to do a good amount of yoga. I hang upside down almost every day on an inversion table. I think we used to
Mhm.
call it gravity guide or something years ago. Um,
You bounce too, don't you?
yeah, and I have a small trampoline. I do rebounding virtually every day. Of course, barefoot,
Of
and
course.
so it's a mix of everything from doing the dishes manually to mindfully mowing the grass with a push mower that has no self-propel mechanism on it, half acre of land. Um, Everything from home improvement projects. I guess one of the things I learned after that first 100 miler is that everything we do matters. Every night's sleep, every activity, every meal, everything matters in terms of keeping yourself optimally fit and ready to go 100 miles.
That a nice way to slide into the last thing I want to cover is ultra running, plant-based diet, barefoot running as a spiritual path.
Oh, wow. That's a great one. I'm not much of a churchgoer anymore, um, but I feel more connected and spiritual now than I think I ever did before. Um, I think the mind is way more open to being connected to nature and whatever the spiritual world, whatever the unseen world is. I kind of look at ultra running as a pathway to that, not only to physical wellness, emotional wellness, um, but also that unseen world, whatever it is. I feel, um, I don't know, it's hard to describe it. I think Scott Jurek used to say that at the end of a long race, say 100-mile race, he almost would feel like he was outside of his body watching himself doing his thing. Like he was just, it was kind of like an out of body experience. And it can sort of be that way. I'd say maybe 1 out of 300 milers, I do my best at the last 10 to 30 miles. And that is just an absolutely incredible feeling to finish strong at a 100-mile race. And it's just an incredible feeling. It's hard to describe it.
Are
uh,
you getting in any time to meditate?
that's something I'm always working on, and I almost never do it anywhere near as much as I'd like to. Um, I like how like a lot of people like I think of Jerry Seinfeld. He every day, no matter what, at least 20 minutes. I think maybe sometimes
Twice,
twice a day, but yeah, I
twice a
think
day.
twice a day, 20 minutes, no matter what. He does that, and I wish I had the discipline to do that. But I tell you, one of my excuses is when I'm running, I consider it a form of meditation.
Right.
It's like yoga. Originally, yoga. I'm preaching to the choir here, but originally yoga was more about breath, uh, more about meditation than what we in America tend to think of yoga as being. But for me, running is just a moving form of yoga. Um, and so it's meditative by nature of it
Sure.
being yoga. So I try to sit down and do a little bit of meditation. And for a while, I was going to a place here in Beaver Creek, Ohio, called the Heartfulness Meditation Center. And I would just sit there and do the group meditation. It was pretty cool. I don't know why I haven't got after COVID. I never went back. Um, so my wife and I will do some yoga, and then oftentimes not as often as I should, but oftentimes I'll just sit and try to meditate.
Um, on the spiritual, I want to give you a big shout out because you plugged my book, The Tao of Distance, and my souls went up for a bit.
Oh,
So thank
good.
you.
I've been meaning to make a video about that book. I will at some point do a little video about that book. It's at my bedside, and sometimes when we're driving to a race, my wife likes to do the driving, so I'll read a book, and sometimes it's your book. So,
That's what I wanted to be was, a book that you can just turn to um, at any time. You didn't have to read it from start to finish. You could just open it, and
oh,
hopefully there would be something there.
every page is incredible. I wish I could write half as well as you do.
Thank you.
You are next level with the writing.
All right. The last question was Sniper want to know if you had ever come across electroculture, all about grounding the plants and vegetables.
Electroculture. I mean, I try to do grounding as often as I possibly can, if that's what you mean. Barefoot on the grass and dirt. Is that what we're talking about?
I think this is particularly for the food that we eat. That it is, uh, let's see, electroculture. It's all about grounding the plants and vegetables. So
Oh, I don't think I've ever heard of that.
it'd be something to do some googling up.
Yeah. Huh. Interesting. Yeah. I don't. I mean, that's all I eat is fruits and vegetables, nuts, beans, seeds, mushrooms. um,
Oh, it's copper rods placed in the ground.
oh, okay. Yeah. No, I've not tried that. I've heard of the people putting like a copper rod into the ground and then running a wire into their bed and sleeping connected to the earth somehow. Um, I've never taken it that far, but any chance I get, for example, today went around our yard. It's a half acre, and I had some leftover topsoil, and I've got about 30, 40 trees and bushes that I've planted over the last year. And I went around the yard and gave them all a sprinkle of fresh topsoil on top of the mulch. And then I did that barefoot, of course. And yesterday, we're having kind of a drought here. So yesterday, I went around and watered everything and barefoot. It was an opportunity to be out in the yard, practicing good posture. It's just another chore that's cross training in my mind. Um, a productive way of getting some earthing and some exercising in, watering all the trees and bushes.
Right. So one last thing. Then we're gonna shut things down for the afternoon. I got another live stream tonight.
Gotcha.
Any thoughts on making a pilgrimage to the Copper Canyon?
Oh wow, I have thought about that, but it's not. There's no plan for it. I don't know. Hopefully that'll happen sometime. Recently, um, we came in contact with a relative in a small village in Bavaria called Tittnoning. It's where my grandfather emigrated from there in like 1929, and we got quite a bit of history on the family and the family name. So me, myself, and several relatives are talking about going to Tittnoning, and it's near. It's about mm, 15 miles from Salzburg, Austria, but it's in Germany. Beautiful area where The Sound of Music was filmed, that kind of terrain.
Mhm.
Anyways, uh, I'm hoping to work that around the UTMB Mozart 100 happens in the summer when my wife would be off work and everybody else is available to go. So I don't think I'm going to try to do a 100-mile race there, but I'm hoping to do at least a 50K Mozart 50K in Salzburg and go to where my grandfather immigrated from in 1930. He got out of Germany about the time Hitler was coming up.
Right.
Um, so that's a significant goal to get there, and it looks like there's a pretty good chance that'll happen. And in the back of my mind, I've always thought going to the Copper Canyons and running that race would be a perfect way to work a race into my grand experiment uh, with the Born to Run stuff.
It really sort of feels like a pilgrimage.
Yeah, it would be awesome to go run with those folks, especially in a pair of sandals for the whole
Oh
whole
yeah,
thing.
for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, and all right, Randy, we're gonna wrap it up. Hey, would you consider coming back for a chat again?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I hope they'll get the technology figured out a little bit better.
And I
But
hope you do get more active on your YouTube page. And when you do, let me know, and we'll share you out.
okay, I'd appreciate that. And it's great chatting with you, and we'll do this again sometime.
You got it, my friend. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you, sir. Take care.
Bye. All right, guys. That was my friend Randy. Randy Kreil. He again is an extraordinary ultra runner and an extraordinary human being. Kat says, "Thank you so much, Randy. Thank you guys for being here. Very much appreciated. Just goes to show you, doesn't have to be an organized spiritual path. It can be as simple as putting your feet in the grass. It could be as simple as going out for a run, whatever the distance might be." Kat says, "Awesome yogi. Thank you. Thank you, Kat." And he says, Randy's a nice man too. He is very inspirational. The fact that he has overcome so much, and he did it with a great deal of joy and a big commitment. Don't have anyone tonight coming up on a live stream, although people are invited if anyone wants to come up. Who knows? Maybe we'll do some singing. It's been a bit since we've sung, but maybe we will. Adam is coming close to being motivated to exercise. I hope so, Adam. Tomorrow, going to continue what we're doing. Yoga with Goga is coming up, and we're going to talk. He's going to share. I'm going to be very quiet. I will ask some questions, but for the most part, I'm going to let Goga talk. Yeah, I know you're like, seriously, you're going to be quiet? I'm going to be quiet. Trust me on this one. Because Goga is sharing the event in his life that led him to a path of healing through yoga, and it is a deep subject for him. He's also going to lead everyone closing out in some breath work. He apologized. He said, "Eric, I'm going to be stepping on your territory, but if you don't mind, I'm going to lead everyone in some breath work." Of course, I don't mind. So it's going to be good. It's going to be good. Next week, I have 2 authors. Timothy Freak, look him up on Amazon. He's going to be a tough guy. Going to be a tough guy to talk to. He flies in the faith of a lot of things that I hold dear. However, that's good. That's a good thing. He was an inspiration for a lot of things that I held dear at one time. And then whoosh, as I was talking about, that's right, whoosh, the carpet is pulled out from beneath and you're left nothing to hold on to. You're not supposed to have something to hold on to. Anything you hold on to, including A Course in Miracles, including yoga, is a prop. Eventually, you let them all go. You let them all go. You don't want to be a student or teacher of A Course in Miracles. You want to demonstrate A Course in Miracles. You don't want to be a yoga practitioner. You don't even want to be a yogi. You want to live yoga. You don't want to be a Buddhist. You want to be a Buddha. You don't want to be a Christian. You want to be Christ-like. Anyway, Timothy Frick, he's going to be up. He's going to be talking. I don't know what we're going to talk about. I'm not asking anyone. I'm not preparing anything for anyone. I'm just going to see if we can wing it. My entire life, I've been winging it. At this point, at 60, I've been wung, right? That's a word. W-U-N-G. When you've been winging it, eventually you have to be wung, right? So I'm wung. I'm going to live my life. The philosophy of wung. And then, I think it's Friday, James Plath, who wrote an incredible book, The Gospel of Astonishment. He was a student, the amazing Randy, who was a prominent magician back in the 70s and 80s and debunker. And how do you get to be have your mentor to be someone who debunks anything that is not materialistic, to live a life where you living a gospel of astonishment. We realize his favorite saying, James's favorite saying, there's nothing solid in the world. A solid anything is impossible. So you can ask him that. Hey, Neogabi, how are you, my friend? It's nice to see you. It's been a little bit. So you can ask him, is it true? Is a solid anything impossible? It is. And he'll explain why. So that's the big things. And we'll see who else wants to come up. If you guys know anyone that you think might be great to come up and have a conversation, basically what I'm looking for is people I would like to talk to, which is why I'm reaching out to people that I've never really reached out before, except for James. I've talked with James messages wise, um, on Facebook a few times. Anyway, I'm rambling. I'm going to see everyone later tonight. Come on by, hang out. And if you want, like I said, maybe we'll sing a song. Thanks for hanging out with me and Randy. Thanks for the great questions. Kat says no, yes, no. Oh, Marlon. Walking Bear says he said Wung. Well, Wung. I spelled it out for everyone. Wung. Thank you, Walking Bear. He says Magnetic Lee may be a good yogi. He's very intelligent. I called Lee, Magnetic Lee, I called him a Taoist before. Definitely a mystic. Sniper says, not if everything waves. Yep. Hey, Sniper, you're going to have a great time talking to James. Hey, Stash. Stash Cast says they're back. Welcome back. Hey, Leonard. Leonard, we are just ending the live stream. Stash, I'm sorry, my friends. We've got a few things to do, but we'll be back. Come on up and sing. Play this back, guys. Brandy Kreil is, like I said, cancer survivor, Ultrarunner extraordinaire. You won't regret it. Hey, Coffee Cake, how are you, my friend? All right, gotta run. Love you guys.